Welcome everyone from Kenya, Uganda, India, Tunisia, Romania. Forgive me if I forgot a country, South Africa, of course. Today, it is a great honor to welcome Madam Minakshi Kushwaha, a postgraduate in economics with a BA and diploma in computer applications. She has 4 years of experience in the field of education. As it is clearly demonstrated today, she leads by example, by being proactive in activities that will develop herself, her teachers, her students, and her learning community. She firmly believes in the holistic development of students. Her work emphasizes providing a quality education through the overall development of their personalities, by engaging them in various co-curricular activities to strike a healthy balance between academics and extracurricular activities inside and outside of school. Today, she's sharing about the integration of the 17 SDGs or Sustainable Development Goals in her school. I hand over to Madam Minakshi now to start us off with an icebreaker to deliver her session. Over to you, Madam Minakshi.
Thank you. Could I have the Mentimeter?
It's coming, it's just loading.
It's coming, okay, yes. So in the chat box, there is a code. I would request you all to get into mentimeter.com and give that code. Write 3 things that come to mind when you think about the 17 SDGs. Please click on mentimeter.com. The link is there, and also enter the code. Yes, more responses, please. Write 3 things that come to mind when you think about the 17 sustainable goals, the SDGs. Five, 7, 8, 8, 6, 2, 8, 2. Okay, we are getting the answers. Gender equality. Oh yes, the bar graph is being made. Gender equality, health, environment, sustainability, education, partnership, future, environment, climate change, education, inclusive education, health, well-being, no one is left behind, saving the planet, poverty. It's beautiful. Wow. So everyone knows what SDGs are. And so I think my job is done. Jasmine, you made my task simpler because this is an illustrious crowd and they know so much already about it. So thank you so much, Jasmine. Thank you so much, Deeped, for giving me this opportunity to come and interact with so many people pan the globe, I would say. Thank you so much. And thank you, Mona, for all the help that you've provided me from the back end. Thank you so much. So Mona is a dear colleague who stands always by my side. And there are a lot of colleagues from my own school here. A warm welcome to each one of you. And thanks for being there and raising my moral and raising my confidence. So welcome each one of you from all over the world. Give me a minute and I will come to my I'll come to my presentation. Could I request all of you to be on mute, please? Yes, so here my presentation comes. And before I start my presentation, could I request all to please turn off your mics and be on mute? Okay. So, SDGs take us back to the year 2012, when in Rio de Janeiro, in this conference of United Nations, the goals were passed. It was important to pass on these goals, think of these goals and pass on those to us so that we could have a better future, and mainly to the children in 2012. By 2030, which was the target year to achieve those goals, they would all have become adults. So that was very important. And in 2012, it came. And the objective, as you see, was to produce a set of universal goals that meet the urgent environmental, political, and economic challenges the world is facing. The word universal goal is important because everyone in the universe has to stand by those. Only then we will have the world a better place to live. So this was the kind of logo that was created, and all the goals were marked on this logo, all the 17 goals. So no poverty, zero hunger, all these goals I'll be taking one by one. But I would like to start as an educationist, as an educator, I would like to start with the last goal, partnerships for the goals. Why I want to start from the 17th goal, the reason is that we are all educationists and we have a lot of children, a lot of parents, a lot of stakeholders who work with us. So we have to encourage partnership of each one of them so that they kind of, have that ownership into this task of achieving the goals. This ownership is important. They must feel themselves to be part of the project. Only then will they work sincerely, and only then we will be able to achieve. So ask, as educators, ask for goals. What do they want? How to achieve? Ask them, make them, partners into this task of achieving the SDGs. Now I come to the first goal. To begin with. But before that, I would like to come to this point, education for sustainable development. Now, it is the key instrument, and education is important because though all goals are important, but quality education is one of the goals. And I feel that this is the enabler for all the other goals. Quality education is enabler for all the other goals. And this is, I would say, the pivot. And in a way, these goals are interlinked, but as educators, we have generations into our hands to mold them. The UNESCO says that education can and must contribute to a new vision of sustainable development. This is what UNESCO says. This is the kind of importance UNESCO gives to education. The Director General of UNESCO says a fundamental change is needed in the way we think about education's role in global development. So everybody says that education is important. It has a catalytic impact on the well-being of individuals and the future of our planet. We are so important people. We are making a path for the future. Now, more than ever, education has a responsibility to be in gear with 21st century challenges and aspirations and foster the right types of values and skills that will lead to sustainable and inclusive growth and peaceful living together. So UNESCO, UN, and everyone agrees that education is the tool to take the goals forward. And we as educators have a very important responsibility. Now, when we talk of education, when we talk of educators, we will not get ever an extra time to kind of, I'm teaching maths, I'm teaching science, I'm teaching my subject. And this is one time specially dedicated to SDGs, where I will teach my children about SDGs and I'll take on the projects. We will never get extra time. we have to weave all the goals, all our plans and everything into our regular day-to-day teaching. This is very important. We have to introduce SDGs to everyone. When I say everyone, I mean our children, our parents, the community, everybody, must know what SDGs are and why are they important. And as I said to begin with, that make them the partners of your journey. The journey will be not difficult if your stakeholders are partners into that journey. Have a long-term plan. Break it up into short-term plans so that you know at the end of this period, where should you be reaching. Your lesson plans, your teaching methodology should have it all from the beginning, that what am I going to incorporate into my lessons so that my lessons incorporate SDGs into them. Because you have to talk about the importance of SDGs every day, every moment, in a very subtle way. Otherwise, it becomes very boring for children to hear that SDGs are important. You have to incorporate in a subtle way that children don't realize that we are focusing on those, but we have focused on those. The school clubs and committees help a lot, because then these clubs and committees are managed by children. And if you incorporate SDGs into your clubs and committees, then children will be motivated to take the tasks forward. Global projects, there are a lot of projects running around all over the world, and internet has made the world very small. So Google, go to surf the internet and find out the projects which are happening, become part of those projects. You will understand what is happening all around, and you will be able to share your vision also. So I think as educators, we must do all these things into our teaching methodology on routine basis. These 5 Ps are very important. They are given by UNESCO: the planet, people, peace, prosperity, and partnership. Planet is to respect and safeguard our own common home. Everybody in the universe has one common home, the planet, the earth. People, leave no one behind and attain sustainable livelihoods and lifestyles. Nobody can be left behind. We have to move forward with everybody. And it begins from our own schools, our own institutions, where I said that everybody should be part of that. Peace, live in peaceful, diverse, harmonious societies free from fear and violence. Prosperity, transform societies to have sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth and sustainable lifestyles. It is important that our neighbor is a happy person. Only then I can be happy. So make an effort to increase prosperity around you. Partnership, I have already spoken about it, but strengthen global solidarity to achieve the SDGs. Global solidarity is important. One nation doing well, the other not doing, will not be of much help. So these 5 Ps are the pillars of the Agenda 2030. And because 2030 is supposed to be the target year when we all should have achieved these 17 SDGs. Okay, coming to the first SDG. Just a minute. Yeah, coming to the first SDG, Nelson Mandela says, as long as poverty, injustice, gross inequality persist in our world, none of us can truly rest. What a powerful statement he made. And he insisted that all of us have to work towards it, and none of us should be at rest as long as there's poverty, injustice, and inequality persisting in the world. And, as educators in our institutions, we must have programs which help reducing poverty. Charity is, yes, important. Donate to the underprivileged people. But at the same time, our children should be empowered so that, they become employers for tomorrow. They are employable. Now, it is important that people are employers, because when you are an employer, you are not only earning money for yourself and you are using the skill or whatever, but at the same time, you are giving jobs to other people. And when you are giving jobs to other people, automatically you are reducing the poverty. So we must have programs in our schools which develop skills into our pupil, to empower them become employers, encourage them having startups. So this is important, that children under our care, in little ways, in their small little ways, learn to become about raising employability and developing skills. In our school, we have tailoring and computer literacy programs, which we run for the underprivileged people of society. And these are mainly for the women. So we teach them tailoring, we teach them computer literacy, and we help them getting jobs after that. We also train them in home science skills. We we teach them making candles, cookies, cakes, pastries, chocolates. And during festival times, these ladies make those things and sell and earn money. So these are all little ways, and maybe when you talk to children, they'll come up with more such projects by which, by and large, you are pitching in to help reduce or remove poverty. Dr. Norman Ernst also talks about zero hunger, which is the second SDG. You can't build a peaceful world on empty stomach and human misery. When I am hungry, you can't expect me to be peaceful, to be very much ethically correct. So it is important that tummies of everyone is full, so that they can contribute into other things which make the society stronger. So connect your schools with food charity initiatives, encourage zero kitchen garden at school and home, zero hunger, food waste audit survey activity. So this is, a food waste audit, and this we have recently started in our school. We did it last month, and we have a wonderful teacher in our school, Seema Dutt, who took this initiative. And each child of the school is right from nursery to class 12. I have 4,000 children. Everybody is engrossed, is involved into taking this project of zero hunger, no food waste. This is an important activity, and we teach them, even if food is getting wasted one day, how to reuse, recycle, or repurpose this. So I think this is zero hunger is another very important SDG towards which we are working, and I am sure all of you are working too in your own ways. But involve all stakeholders into this. Why am I? Yes. So now this is the third slide, I would say, or the third SDG, which talks about good health and well-being. It is very important that we are healthy ourselves. Only then we'll be able to look after others. So first of all, have a good health, have a good mental and physical health. And then children under you, parents of your children, it is our duty to have workshops or sessions for them to raise awareness that how mental and physical fitness is important. This should be a culture in our institutions. The government of India has started this Fit India program, and all schools participate into it, and they give a certificate at the end of the year that is the school a fit school. You can see the pictures of various activities in our school where children are playing, children are running. So a lot of physical activities are done, and the data is uploaded. And if we are up to the mark, we get this certificate. It is a matter of pride that with the help of the sports department teachers of our school, we have been getting this certificate for 2 consecutive years. But yes, a lot of activities need to be, a lot of planning needs to be done to get this certificate. We understand health is important. Okay. Now, this is quality education, which is the most important point. And as educators, we realize that we can mold generations if we are good educators. We cannot, as a country, improve economically, socially, or culturally without quality education. And as educators, we have to understand that what an important role are we playing in molding the societies, in developing the cultures, and also in achieving the SDGs. So children are under our care, and we must leave no stone unturned to create them, to create good human beings into them. And we must by 2030 ensure that all learners are able to get those skills, acquire the knowledge that is needed for achieving these SDGs. A lot of initiatives are being taken all over the world, and we should connect and collaborate with other educators. Like this platform is one such platform. We are connecting and collaborating with all of you and sharing the best practices. And maybe next time you can share the best practices and I learn from you all. And all these are focusing towards helping us develop the holistic children under our care. Holistic education is important. We have all kinds of children in our institutions. They are from poor backgrounds, they are from rich backgrounds, they have some disabilities, physical or mental disabilities, they are from different societal backgrounds and different kind of parents, different countries. So there's so much of variety that comes to us, but then it is our duty to create future-ready children. And I'm sure all of us are contributing to achieve that. So inclusive education is important to give quality education. Okay, so this fifth objective is, fifth SDG talks about gender inequality. In India, this gender inequality was existing in a big way. I mean, everybody wanted to have a boy. I don't know why, but they wanted to have a son. And the population became lopsided. There were more men and very less of female. So this initiative was taken up by our Prime Minister, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. This helped lot of to curb a lot of female feticide, and the girls are now doing so well. They are coming up in the society as real caretakers. They are doing a fantastic jobs, and girls are doing, I would say, better than boys in most of the areas. So gender inequality should not exist. Strength has no gender. So it's only, we say that women are the weaker sex. No, it's not like that. And it's our duty that we incorporate such programs in our schools, that the boys start respecting the girls, and they understand that they are the equals. It is important for us as educators that we give equal opportunities to boys and the girls under our care. The next is clean water and sanitation. Water is very important, as you can see the quote up there. We have a lot of projects running in our school to save water. We have a swimming pool, and we have a huge ground, and we have a lot of washrooms and all. So all those that water is kind of, purified and then reused in as garden water or whatever you call, but we do. We have reverse osmosis system in our school to clean water, and it throws out a lot of water as waste. So that water is collected and it's used in the toilets. So water needs to be recycled, because it's not that we have it in abundance. There's shortage of water which we can drink. In India, mainly, it's a situation which needs to be pondered over. So water needs to be saved, recycled, harvested, audited, and it's important that we take our children to the water treatment plants of the governments, so that they understand the importance of water, that it is a hard work to filter water because we are just wasting it. Now, this is another very important thing, segregation of trash. In Delhi, we realized that too much of trash is being collected, and there are 2-3 mountain kind of places which have just been created because of the trash. And those mountains would catch fire sometimes, and so hazardous for the communities living around. So we have started segregating the trash at home. The kitchen waste should not go out of the house, and you can reuse it by maybe cooking something out of the peels, or you can make compost out of that and use it in your garden or wherever. But the idea is that segregate the trash, let the kitchen waste not go out, and the plastic waste and things like those should also be discarded together so that they can be kind of recycled and reused by proper organizations. And then there is sanitary waste, and there is waste which can't be reused, recycled. That also should be discarded separately. And the biggest trash which is now we are fearing is the electronic trash. The batteries, the keyboards, the mobile phones, all these. And they're very dangerous because once they go inside the ground, they get buried. They are going to kind of, spoil the ground also. So that trash also needs to be collected and discarded in a proper scientific manner. So we have set up a big box in our school where children bring all electronic waste, and we dump into that, and the government approved organizations come collect that and discard those things appropriately. So, and then when we come to the hand wash, to sanitize the culture, it is important that we teach our children how to wash your hands properly. That's a skill, and that must be taught. The girls and the boys both must be taught to look after their personal hygiene, especially during adolescence. There are a lot of issues that come up. So we have to teach them how to keep their private parts clean. And we have to educate on those things. Why should they take a bath every day? These simple things, but we must teach them. 7th is affordable and clean energy. And affordable and clean energy, which is very important. Why should we use the coal to make electricity when there is solar power, there's biomass power, geothermal electricity, nuclear energy, hydroelectric, wind energy? Let's not use the natural resources which are on the verge of depletion. Use those things which will never kind of, extinguish. My whole school runs on solar power. We use around 215 megawatt of kilowatt of energy, and we are on solar power. We don't use thermal energy. And such initiatives should be taken by all so that we are in a position to save coal. And anyways, wind, solar energy, the sunlight, we can't store them. So let's store them in the form of electricity. I would say that we can reuse that. It is energy. It is very important to save electricity also, because it comes at a cost. So save electricity, don't have ACs and fans and other gadgets on when you are leaving the room. This we must teach our children. The 8th and the 9th objectives are decent work and economic growth, and industry, innovation, and infrastructure. These are very important, again, I would say. And I did discuss that, encourage startup and entrepreneurship culture in our school so that our children become employers when they grow up, and they might start their own startups even while they are in schools. They must be able to observe, apply, critically think, and design solutions to the problems. This is something very important. And um, I don't know how have I gone to the next slide, but anyways, it is important that our children are taught to be good innovators, and we must develop that culture while they are at school, because old habits die hard. If they have not taught them these things, not everybody, but very few will be able to get into this, because they're God gifted into that kind of skill. But we at school must take initiative that we develop skills in our children, which they can have their hobbies, and they can even pursue their careers into that. And they are employable, number one. And most important, that they are empowered to become employers also. So innovation is important. You never know, smallest an idea which is sounding very simple might help society to bring a radical change, or some very good instrument which can be used. So the ideas have to be respected, and they have to be thought upon, and tell children to take those ideas forward and build something. Reduced inequality is the 10th SDG. And the worst form of inequality is to try to make unequal things equal. Nature has, for example, not made boys and girls unequal. Nature has a proper balance into it. We create inequalities: caste, gender, religion, community. Sensitize children not to casually discuss sensitive issues. This is important. All over the world, I see there are fights happening because the sensitive issues are being discussed. So we must teach our children not to discuss these sensitive issues. And we must tell them that don't believe in any kind of inequalities. And in the formative years in schools, if we are able to inculcate all these as habits, they will become sensible human beings for tomorrow. 11th is the sustainable, SDG is the sustainable cities and communities. Now, this is something very interesting and something very important. We have to create green cities, sustainable cities. We have to increase awareness into our children that there's something called green buildings, which don't need heaters, which don't need air cooling devices like air conditioners, etc. Use those things and make your buildings. Because in India, we have extreme kinds of climate. In summers, we have 45, 46 degrees Celsius temperatures. And in winters, it goes down to minus also. So we use a lot of electricity in creating air-conditioned atmosphere into our buildings. So we must create an awareness that there's something called green buildings, and we must use all those things. And robotics, computers, STEAM labs, etc., help a lot in developing this kind of culture where children can think of developing the sustainable cities and communities. So encourage the robotics labs in your school, and STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. So everything is into this. Encourage all subjects, because nothing works in silo. It has to be, a holistic approach has to be taken in converting the dreams into realities. There is some art involved, mathematics involved, technology, science, everything is involved. So encourage children to use artificial intelligence. These are important things these days. The 12th SDG is talking about responsible consumption and production. SDG exists, but I think COVID has taught us all about minimalistic lifestyles. When we were all locked in during the lockdowns inside in our houses, we realized that we have so much of waste with us. And my heart cried when I realized that, oh my God, I have so many dresses, and I realized
Madam Minakshi, you're
Hi, you
unmuted.
are muted.
Ma'am, you're muted.
Oh, sorry.
You may
So,
just start on the slide. Yeah.
okay. So COVID has taught us all very well, that we don't need too much in our lives. We need to have minimalistic lifestyles, and we have to have people around us who are our supporters, who are with whom we can spend happy times. So whatever we have extra, we should think twice that, do I really need? Let us give it to somebody who needs it. And it's what is important is happiness, family, good health. COVID has taught us this, and it is very important. And this takes us to responsible consumption and production. Use things only in a responsible manner, buy things in a responsible manner, and produce things in a responsible manner. Why make so much of food when you know you are not going to be able to use it? If at all it has been made, give it to somebody who needs it. So this is again a very important SDG, and a lot of social development happens, a lot of the mental attitude changes if we get into it. And recycle, reuse, repurpose are important things that we need to develop, and to become responsible consumers and producers. Paper cycling is another important thing that we do in our school. We use one side of the paper and we use the other side of the paper, and then we collect all that paper and recycle that paper. We create our own paper, and we have our all invitation cards which are sent to people are through that recycled paper. So minimum paper, because paper comes majorly from wood, which comes from trees. So we must recycle and reuse paper. The Secretary General of the UN says that climate action is very important. We had been hearing about climate action majorly because it is a very sensitive topic. It is something for our existence that we need to look into. And the Secretary General UN says there's no plan B, because we do not have a planet B. We are in planet A, and it's the only planet where we can be. So make this planet A appropriate for us to live in, for our children to be able to live in a society. Now, we haven't created this world, this planet. We have got it, and it's our duty to leave it, at least leave it the way we got it, and not to spoil it further for our generations to come and suffer. We must create environments at school by which, children are sensitive towards climate action. They must have smart watering systems. We should hold a lot of tree plantation events in school. Let's encourage children to plant more trees around their houses. What we do in India is, anybody who comes, who visits us, instead of giving him, her a costly gift, we give a plant. We don't even generally cut flowers and cut those flowers as a welcome thing, but we give a plant, because this is so symbolic. And India is a country, where a lot of herbs, and we have a culture of using plants for herbs, etc. So we gift the herbal plants, which people can use for and have their medicinal values. So this kind of culture, I think, is important, and we should do to conserve nature. We should have our own systems where we recycle, reuse, and repurpose things. With pride, I say that I'm showing you a newspaper clipping, and it says that, which was the biggest unnoticed event of 2021. At 2015 Paris Climate Summit, India pledged that 40% of its power capacity would come from the non-fossil fossil sources by 2030. And we achieved this target 10 years before 2030. So that is something, I'm proud of. As Indian, I'm part of this whole thing, and I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my nation. Life below water, life below the above the land. Important, very important. We cannot have our existence is because of we have a life below water and we have life above the land also. Air and water are important, and we must look after both, because the whole ecosystem gets spoiled if they are not in a proper balance. The earth, the air, the land, and the water are not an inheritance from our forefathers, but on loan to us from our children. Our children have given this loan to us, and we have to return, we have to hand over these to our generations. It's important. Mahatma Gandhi said this. So we have to educate our children on the importance of biodiversity. It is important that it is a balanced system exists that we stay in. We have to educate our children. We have to sensitize them on water habitats, oceans. We have to stop using plastic, because we use plastic that goes in ocean, and so much of fish and all these ocean animals are dying because of that. And that's the same thing happening on the land also. The quality of this earth or the mud is getting spoiled, because plastic, glass, all these, they take, impossible number of years to kind of, biodegrade. So we must encourage our children not to use these toxic things, but to conserve nature and care for biodiversity. 16th is peace, justice, and strong institutions. And we have to ensure that we have to promote peace. We have to learn to respect others, and our projects, etc., should be very importantly focusing on the teaching objective that our children learn to respect each other, respect the country systems, respect values, and they must learn how to curb clashes. They must learn to promote the peace teachings by Mahatma Gandhi and Nelson Mandela, Buddha, etc. They were great messengers of peace, and we cannot forget what they have said. And we must incorporate their values, the values taught by them, into our teaching systems. And we must inculcate that kind of culture into our children, because ultimately they have to take it all forward. Taking pledge at times, helps, because the children start thinking that way. So we must take pledge for peace and unity, and children start thinking that, oh, I have promised myself not to do this. So it helps, it builds that culture. The 17th and the last of the SDGs is that no school can work well for children if parents and teachers do not act in partnership. I started my presentation with this message only, that we must have all our stakeholders singing the same tune. I would say that we all work together in a collaborated manner to achieve our goal. And the collaboration, everything is important. So I think I am well in time. Jasmine, I think you would appreciate that I'm able to finish my presentation in the time, within the time limit that you wanted to give me. And I hand over back to you, Jasmine.
Thank you, Dr. Minakshi, and thank you for coming to share with us how it's done for your school. I do have a few questions, and I want to open the chat to anybody who may have a question. Just to give more clarity on certain points Madam Minakshi made, or whatever. My first question, though, Madam Minakshi, is how do you select SDGs that teachers and classes do? How is that done in your school, just to bring it much closer to the integration within the school setting?
Yes. See, we have the government actually taking a lot of initiatives and guiding us a lot. Like you can say, setting up the path. Now, for example, Save Water or Save Girl Child. They are all the campaigns which are started by the government, and we participate into those first of all. And then, of course, the staff sits together and we kind of think that what should be the project of this year or this term, or which is the project which needs to be ongoing for 2, 3, 4 years. Like I said, that we started this project in a school of zero waste management. So the teacher who's the in charge came up with all the points, and we all sat and discussed how it has to be taken, because it's just observation that we realize that too much is getting wasted. And we realized that this needs to be curbed. This practice of producing so much of waste needs to be looked into. So this is how this project started. And then, one teacher can't be taking on this project forever, when I'm involving 4,000 children of the school into it. So actually the entire school is part of this project, all children, all teachers. So when teachers are, say, creating a project, let's the Hindi department took up the project in January, took up the initiative of like food audit at home, that how much food is wasted. So the entire school was working upon auditing that how much of food is being wasted at their homes. Children actually maintained records every day that this was cooked extra and this was thrown, this was kept in the refrigerator. And they all came up with the ideas and kind of, feeling that so much of food is actually wasted. Then children were told to talk with their parents that how can this be avoided. So children are the actual good messengers who carry forward the ideologies home, and they educate their children that we should not be wasting food. If at all food is extra, we should give it to those who need them. So this is how we try to. And now, for example, in the month of January, I said food waste was the agenda. Now, it doesn't mean that January is over. Now, food waste is not to be looked into.
Okay.
It needs to be, it is an ongoing process which needs to be reiterated time and again. So this, the teachers of Hindi department often on talk about these things in their classes, that, okay, we did this in January, how far, how many of you are taking it forward, what is your observation and all. And in the month of February, the other thing came up. So, for example, electricity audit at home. How much electricity are you wasting? So each child is now heavily involved into electricity audit and finding ways to conserve it. But at the same time, the Hindi teachers, Hindi department teachers are also talking about it, so that we feel it is important to kind of reinforce the things. Otherwise, it becomes just a monthly project and do it in January and forget about it. And these are important. So this is how we do, and all teachers are involved month-wise, so that I'm done with my thing in January. I can focus on other things. In February, the other department takes over the waste management project.
Thank you so much. I think you made some good points, because even on the global learning landscape, like at the moment, there's so much going on, right? And it becomes a project for a month or two. And I think the whole thing about global learning is, and the SDGs is actually to achieve and make a better world, right? To achieve the SDGs and save the planet. And it's going to only be through consistency. But I would like to reflect on things that's in the chat now. So Adele has asked, or Adil has asked, how can we integrate an SDG in a math or techniques lesson, for example?
Would
We've
you
got quite
please
a few
repeat?
questions, so like, if you can. Okay. How can we integrate an SDG in a math or techniques lesson, for example?
In mathematics. Okay. Mathematics is a very interesting subject. And when we are framing a question in maths, we are framing a question, we have statements. So the statements can be made wherein, now, for example, the project for this month was waste management. All of you calculated the amount of waste, or you can specifically talk of electronic waste, let's say. I'm framing the statement of the sentence. So you all noticed that a lot of electronic waste happened, and make a bar graph indicating how in a week's time you were able to reduce the production of electronic waste or discarding of electronic waste in your general waste. So this is a question which is focusing, reiterating that ideology of electronic waste that is being produced at home. And when the child is making a bar graph that on Monday, my bar was at this level, and by Friday or Saturday, it was brought down at this level. So indirectly, we are reiterating that electronic waste should be not thrown into the regular garbage of the household. And the child takes pride in when he sees the bar graph going down, he takes pride in this, that, wow, I helped in reducing the electronic waste into my general garbage. Did I answer your question? Can't hear you, Jasmine.
Adil,
Yeah.
does that answer your question?
Excellent.
Yes, thank you so much. This someone here, I think is from the Philippines. Dr. Dari, welcome. So nice to see you here. You have a question to ask to our distinguished speaker. Please go
Yep.
ahead.
Yes. Good day to everyone. First, I'd like to congratulate India for being so advanced in the promotion of the SDGs. Kudos to the educators. You are doing very well. I am inspired by what you are doing and what you are actually doing for schools. My questions are the following. Number one, what does your education ministry say about the SDGs? Do they require it to include it in the curriculum? That's my first question. Second, how do schools in India integrate the SDGs? Like you talk about it before the start of the school year, you plan it. And number three, are the schools in India very much open to collaborative learning with other countries? For example, like my school, St. Patrick's School of Quezon City in Philippines, we are just starting to collaborate with countries like Japan in terms of collaboration. We would love to be able to do more and really, uh, be also inspired by what you have been doing there in India. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Derry. And we would love to have collaboration with your own school also. And we'll love to take some projects and all forward along with you. And as you very rightly said, that how you asked that how do we incorporate SDGs? And because see, it has to be interdisciplinary. When we give a project, we ask children to create data. We ask them to analyze data. This is maths. Then we ask them to understand the science behind it, their facts and all. Go to Google or go do research and find out that how scientifically that data that has been collected, how scientifically that it can be converted into facts and figures, and how what can be done in a scientific way if possible, or if it is something which is involving with social sciences, philosophy, then analyze the data that ways and give the message to give the report accordingly. So it involves social sciences or sciences into that. Sorry. Mathematics is, yes, it is data, so it can always be, mathematics angle is there, of course. Languages are important because reporting in a desired manner needs a skill. Sometimes it has to be a report. Sometimes it has to be a letter. Sometimes it has to be a pamphlet. The other times, maybe write a story based on that whole experience. So we have this interdisciplinary kind of approach that we follow, and that's how we involve them into our curriculum. And the ministry you were asking, they have, they give us the guidelines, and we have full flexibility to they have full flexibility to we have full flexibility to put up those, or to use those guidelines in the method of delivery. They just say that the learning objectives should be this. The minimum learning objectives are defined. We can go over and above those learning objectives, but minimum are there. And then, they tell us that, for example, the National Education Policy 2020 said that you have to incorporate SDGs into those. Now, we all need to know what are SDGs, and we all have to plan our own lessons, that how can I incorporate 1, 2, or all the SDGs by way of giving suitable messages to our children. So ministry gives us guidelines, and it is for us to take those forward. And they're flexible in the methods. That's our problem, that how we take it up. And students,
thank you so much. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah, students exchange help a lot. We too have collaborations with Japan, Germany, and many, many countries where we are doing these projects together and understanding how the other countries are doing things which we are also doing, and we learn from them, we teach them. I think I answered your question, Dr. Derry.
Yes, very clear. Thank you very much. Just one last, my apologies for asking last question. What about teachers? How do they take teaching SDGs for students? Do they take it as a burden, or are they happy?
I am privileged to have wonderful group of teachers working with me, and most of the times they are so enthusiastic and proactive that most of the times they are driving me crazy, that we have to do this, we have to do this, we have to do that. I love them for this. And yes, we are a team, and we always have our faculty meetings, we have our staff meetings, and we don't impose things. Like I was saying, this waste management project, it's coming into my mind again and again because it just started. So it was a teacher's initiative, and she told me, ma'am, this needs to be done. And I said, yes, go ahead. And then she made a draft, and she told other teachers, all other teachers very much willingly participated and are participating. But yes, as I said, that I, as head of the institution, take care that the burden is equally divided amongst all. Like one department did the activity for January, the other department does the activities for the other month, so that no one is overburdened. Everybody has collaborated into the project, and ownership is on all of us. Did I answer your question, Dr. Derry?
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Thank you. What a note to end on. Well, we've come to the end of the session. I would like to inform you that from this session, we will be sending the slides with the permission of Madam Minakshi to all participants today. And I hear it so clearly: collaboration, unity, spreading ownership and taking ownership is important for the integration of the SDGs. I would like to also make it very clear that this doesn't end here. The whole idea behind global learning and the SDGs is unity and collaboration. We cannot do it alone. So you'll have a follow-up email where you will be invited to more events where we're not going to have a webinar, we're going to plan together. Dr. Dari just mentioned, I would like to really actually collaborate with India. There's going to be a session where you can come and say, okay, this is what I have to offer. Who wants to partner with me? There'll be a lot of projects, and there's a lot out there already. But what I like about this session, this is saying a school can launch their own projects. And maybe we'll become stronger if it's school-based and we join hands and then take it global. So thank you, everyone. I would like to, I think Madam Minakshi wants to end with a teacher's pledge, the educator's pledge. Aisha Rahman, if you look at the chat, just have a look in the chat. Can you please put in there, complete the feedback form, put your correct name, the spelling of your name correctly onto that form, and you can claim a certificate. It's very important in your email that you have received with a Zoom link. There is an expiry date for when you can claim your certificate. That is also very, very important. So without any further ado, thank you so much for today. We look forward to see you at the next event where we're going to join hands as educators and not as big organizations and say we're going to conquer the world in one project. Join hands and you feel free to join if you want to attend that event. It's about teacher voice, it's about student voice, and it's about empowering our parents and communities. Thank you. Over to you, Madam Minakshi, to finish with the pledge.
Yeah, thank you so much. And as I said that we have a culture of taking pledges. Sometimes pledges come to us from the government. Sometimes we create our own pledge. So today, before I end the presentation, as educators, I would like all of us to take a pledge. It's a teacher's, it's an educator's pledge. If the children are to be well, it starts with me. Not me alone, but a whole community. I am only a voice, one advocate, one protector, one guide. I cannot do it alone. I need others by my side. Children are the future. Their success and failures affect us all. By committing to serve all kids, not some kids, but all. I am a teacher. I repeat, I am a teacher. Thank you so much, all of you.